Welcome back to our channel, soap fans. Today is a truly wild day in the world of daytime drama, and we have an explosive, heart-stopping update that will change Port Charles forever. Grab your coffee and brace yourselves, because what we are about to unpack is absolutely devastating. Let's dive right into the madness. Let's be real for a second. We all knew that the massive, fiery car crash on Route 91 was going to have severe consequences, but absolutely no one could have predicted the sheer level of tragedy that has just unfolded at General Hospital. If you thought the drama was going to end with Jordan Ashford and Curtis Ashford being pulled from the wreckage of that burning vehicle, you are dead wrong. What just happened in the sterile, quiet halls of the intensive care unit is going to send shockwaves through this town for years to come. We are talking about a cold-blooded, calculated assassination of a legacy character, and the implications are absolutely staggering. To fully understand the gravity of this situation, we have to look back at the events that led us here. The 70/30 rule of our analysis demands that we look at the facts first. Jordan was rushed to the hospital completely unresponsive after that horrific crash. Now, many fans have been screaming on the forums, pointing fingers at Brooklyn Quartermain because she had a glass of wine before getting behind the wheel. The narrative has been heavily framing Brooklyn as the scapegoat, with Tracy Quartermain going into full crisis mode to cover it up. But I think this whole blame game is a massive distraction. Let's not forget the undeniable truth. Curtis and Jordan were practically making out like high school teenagers while driving on a dark, winding road. They were completely distracted. I think it is highly hypocritical for the town to point fingers at Brooklyn or even Danny Morgan and Charlotte Cassadine when the adults in the room were the ones neglecting the road. But here's the kicker. That crash, as horrific as it was only the opening act of a much darker, much more sinister play orchestrated by the most terrifying man in Port Charles right now, Jen Sidwell. While Jordan was lying in that hospital bed, clinging to life by a thread, fighting through what looked like a severe traumatic brain injury, Jen Sidwell was doing his own digging. And you won't believe what he found out. Sidwell has officially discovered Jordan's true identity. He found out that the woman he trusted, his right-hand woman in his non-criminal endeavors, was actually an undercover mole working directly for Mayor Laura Collins. Can you believe it? The absolute audacity of Laura to place Jordan in such an incredibly dangerous position is mind-boggling. Let's do a deep psychological dive into Jen Sidwell for a moment. This is a man who is currently drowning in grief and absolute rage over the murder of his son, Marco Rios. We know that Ross Cullum is the one who actually stabbed Marco, but Sidwell doesn't know that yet. Sidwell is fixated on Sonny Corinthos. He operates with this terrifyingly calm exterior, a trait that reminds me so much of the legendary Caesar Faison. And speaking of Faison, we know Sidwell is deeply connected to Faison's final project, working alongside Cassius Faison, who is currently parading around town as fake Nathan West. Sidwell is a man who demands absolute loyalty. For him, betrayal is not just a disappointment, it is a capital offense. When he realized that Jordan, a woman he brought into his inner circle, was feeding information to the mayor, something inside him snapped. He couldn't just let her die from her car crash injuries. No, that would be too merciful. He needed to make a statement. And this is where the story takes a turn that makes my blood run completely cold. I am honestly furious with the writers for this next sequence of events, but I have to admit, it is brilliant television. While Jordan is lying completely vulnerable in the ICU, where is Curtis, the man who was just screaming for a doctor, the man who pulled her from a burning car? Where is he? He is off helping Portia Robinson and Stella Henry decorate a nursery. Are you kidding me? I think this action was fundamentally wrong on so many levels. Your ex-wife, the woman you were just passionately kissing moments before you nearly killed her in a car wreck, is in a coma, and you leave her bedside to look at paint swatches for a baby's room? Many fans think Curtis is just trying to support Portia and keep the family peace, but I think this is the most unforgivable mistake Curtis has ever made. The guilt is going to absolutely destroy him. He is going to replay that moment in his head for the rest of his life. Because Curtis stepped away, and because Isaiah Gannon was distracted, the hospital was left incredibly vulnerable. Sidwell, being the master tactician that he is, recognized this chaotic window of opportunity. He didn't come down to the hospital himself. He is too smart for that. Instead, he dispatched a highly trained, professional assassin to to slip into the intensive care unit. Imagine the scene: the quiet hum of the hospital machinery, the dim fluorescent lights, and the shadow of a killer slipping right past the nurse's station. Lucas Jones was likely bogged down dealing with the influx of trauma patients from the multi-car pileup, leaving Jordan completely unprotected. The assassin didn't just want to pull the plug. They wanted to send a message. As the assassin stood over Jordan's helpless body, they executed Sidwell's final order. We don't know the exact method yet, perhaps a lethal injection into her IV line, or perhaps something much more brutal, but the result was instantaneous. The heart monitor, which had been steadily beeping, suddenly flatlined. That long, piercing, soulless beep echoing down the hospital corridor is a sound that will haunt Portia and Isaiah forever. When Portia and Isaiah finally heard the alarm and sprinted down the hallway, bursting through the doors of the ICU, they were met with a scene straight out of a horror movie. It was too late. Jordan Ashford, a woman who survived being kidnapped, who survived kidney failure, who survived countless mob shootouts during her tenure as police commissioner, was gone. But it wasn't just her lifeless body that stopped Portia and Isaiah dead in their tracks. It was what the assassin left behind. Right there, resting on the hospital bed next to Jordan, was a bloody, unmistakable symbol. Jen Sidwell's calling card! That's crazy! Let's unpack the sheer magnitude of this moment. So why would Sidwell leave his symbol? Why not just let people think she succumbed to her injuries from the car crash? Because this was never just about punishing Jordan for being a spy. This was a theatrical, mafia-style execution designed to be a bloody warning sent directly to sunny Corinthos. I want to compare this plot point with past events in the film to really see the connections here. Think back to the height of the mob wars in Port Charles, the days of the Five Families, or the brutal tactics of Manny Ruiz. Leaving a bloody symbol on a murdered loved one is the ultimate act of psychological warfare. Sidwell is telling Sonny, "I can touch anyone, anywhere, at any time. Your territory is mine, your people are mine, and I am coming for you next." Sidwell still fully believes that Sonny is the one responsible for Marco's death. By killing a prominent figure like Jordan, someone connected to Curtis, to Laura, to the very fabric of Port Charles law enforcement, Sidwell is declaring total war on the entire city just to get to Sonny. How is Sonny going to react to this? We already know that ADA, Justine Turner, and Rick Lansing have been warning Sonny that Sidwell is going to retaliate. Rick even theorized that Sidwell orchestrated the events on Pier 55 that led to Jason Morgan being shipped off to WSB custody, specifically to leave Sonny vulnerable. And now, with Jason locked away taking the fall for Rocco Falconeri, Sonny is lacking his primary enforcer. But here is where the plot thickens, and you won't believe what happens next. Ethan Lovett is returning to Port Charles! We know Ethan holds a massive burning grudge against Sidwell for the extreme danger he put his mother, Holly Sutton, in years ago. Ethan and Sonny are perfectly poised to form a deadly alliance. With Jordan's assassination serving as the catalyst, I predict we are going to see Sonny and Ethan go absolutely scorched earth. They are not going to wait for the PCPD to handle this. They are going to take the fight directly to Sidwell's doorstep. And what about Mayor Laura Collins? Let's talk about the immense, crushing guilt that is about to fall on her shoulders. Laura recruited Jordan for this undercover assignment. Laura knew exactly how dangerous Sidwell was. She knew he was pulling the strings with Congresswoman Willow Kane, and yet she asked Jordan to get close to him. When Laura found out about the car crash, she immediately asked Curtis if it was possible the wreck wasn't an accident. She already suspected Sidwell was onto them. Now, her deputy mayor has been slaughtered in a hospital bed because of her orders. I think Laura is going to face a massive political and personal reckoning. Will she step down as mayor? Will she recruit Nina Reeves, as we suspect, to form a shadow alliance to take Sidwell down from the inside? Laura has always been a beacon of light in Port Charles, but this tragedy might push her into a very dark, vengeful place. Let's also look at the ripple effects this will have on the younger generation. Danny Morgan is already fixated on Sidwell, believing he is the source of all of Jason's problems. Danny has been actively trying to align himself with Sonny's mob, much to the absolute horror of Alexis Davis. When Danny hears that Sidwell ordered a hit inside General Hospital and left a bloody warning for Sonny, it is only going to fuel his reckless desire for vengeance. Danny feels responsible for the car crash involving Charlotte. and now he is going to feel a twisted sense of duty to step up and fight in this mob war. This is a terrifying path for a teenager, and I fear Danny is going to cross a line he can never come back from. And we absolutely cannot ignore the tragic ironies surrounding Britt Westbourne and Cassius Faison in all of this. Britt is currently being blackmailed by Ross Cullum, the actual murderer of Marco Rios. Britt's life is hanging by a thread, and Sidwell has already told Cassius that they need to get rid of Britt permanently if she doesn't deliver on Faison's prototype. Seeing what Sidwell just did to Jordan, Britt has to know that her days are severely numbered. If Sidwell finds out that Britt is covering for the real killer, or if he discovers that young Rocco Falconeri is the one who shot Cullum, the bloodshed is going to multiply exponentially. I am honestly heartbroken for Trina Robinson in all of this. Trina just had this beautiful moment performing at Charlie's Pub with Giovanni Palmieri playing guitar for her. She is dealing with the immense stress of keeping the secret about who shot Drew Kane alongside Kai Taylor while Willow Kane is actively plotting to silence them. And now, Trina is going to receive the news that Jordan, a woman who has been like a second mother to her, who has been a pillar of strength for Curtis, has been brutally murdered. The emotional fallout for the Ashford family is going to be unparalleled. To wrap this all up, Port Charles is standing on the precipice of absolute chaos. The assassination of Jordan Ashford is not just a tragic end to a beloved character. It is the spark that is going to ignite the most explosive mob war we have seen in a decade. Jen Sidwell has proven that he has no boundaries, no morals, and absolutely no mercy. The bloody symbol left on that hospital bed is a promise of more death to come. Carly, Valentine, Jack Brennan, Jocelyn, everyone's secrets are about to collide in the shadow of this murder. I want to know what you guys think. Do you blame Curtis for leaving Jordan's bedside? Do you think Laura should resign as mayor for putting Jordan in the line of fire? And how far do you think Sonny and Ethan will go to avenge this horrific act? Drop your thoughts, theories, and outrage in the comments below. This is a storyline we are going to be analyzing for a very long time. Until next time, stay safe, Port Charles fans, because nobody on our screens is safe right now.